Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop Elements project, we're going to take a look at how to put text into a surface. Now we'll be looking at two different surfaces. This one is a granite surface and I call this a hard surface. You want real sharp edges on this one. We'll also be doing something into a soft surface. We'll do a wood look, carved wood look, and that one needs a little softer approach to make it look authentic. So we'll start off here with this basic hard surface, and we'll do a little bit of stuff in here. I have just a few touches on this to make it look real nice. It's not that difficult. I'm starting off with this image here of some granite. Now I want to have the dark part at the bottom, the light part at the top. So I'm just going to rotate this around a little bit. Let me open up my window and let's go up here to Image, Rotate. Let's go 180 degrees. That just flips it around. Okay, my light area is now over here and the dark area is on the right hand side. That's more of the way I want to have this one sitting. Just kind of matches our light source. And we'll be putting in more of that, more of a gradient a little later on here as well. Okay, now we need to put some type on this, and for the hard surface you want to have a nice sharp typeface. So let's go over here to type, and the one that I'm using is called Trajan Bold. Let me see if I can find it here. There we go. Trajan Pro 3 Bold. And Trajan's a very common typeface. If you don't already have it, you can find it just by doing a search for Trajan font online. And what I like about this is that it has kind of an old Roman look to it. It's real sharp edges and so forth. And it does well for this kind of a look. It's a little different from the one that I had in the sample, but I wanted to do this one this time. So we use this Trajan Bold. And let's just type in Rome. Now, it's hard to see that. It's a very small insertion point there. So I need to change my typeface here, and let's bring this up. I'll try 72 and let's see what that gives us. Not too bad. I think we can use that as a start, big enough to see, and then I'll just pull this out to give us larger type. Now what I'm looking for on this kind of carved text is real nice sharp edged font, and has some width in here because we're going to be doing a bevel and emboss, and having some width allows you to see that bevel and emboss in there. Without that width it doesn't really show well. And this font looks a little bit older, so it kind of matches the whole Rome concept in there. Okay, so pretty straightforward. Just grab our text in here and then type in, again using a nice large font. Let's look at some of our fonts again. Let me just talk you through why I chose that one and some other options. Again, I wanted a font that has some serifs on it. That's these little feet in there, and a little bit up here. So I wanted to have those serifs on that. And let me just get off of that type layer here so it doesn't keep on doing that to us. There we go. And I'll lock that layer as well. Okay, that just stops some of that automatic stuff that Elements likes to do. So there's that, good solid. You can go a little bit thinner if you want to for a similar effect. Now if I was going to scroll through here and see what else I might choose, Times New Roman could work. I prefer the the bold type to regular type. Again, it gives you a little more space for that bevel and emboss to show up, and that's what gives you that chiseled look. Something like this would also work, although I tend to like having the serifs. This is a sans serif face. There's no little feet or edges on the letters. I prefer a serif to a sans serif for this kind of engraved effect. And then as I scroll up, I'm looking for lettering that it's a little blacker in appearance. So I'm looking for a black, and I'm looking for a serif. Most of those are sans serif. Things like this really don't work. I mean, you can do this, but it really doesn't work out well for this kind of an effect. It doesn't look as realistic. Okay, like this is fairly thick, and it has a serif on there, but it's fairly soft serif, so it doesn't give me that same chiseled quality. Just see what else we have up here. Those are no good. Again, I'm looking for the dark typefaces. Those are the ones that have the nice serifs, and I want a sharp serif on the edge. Like this one might work out pretty well as well. Perpetua titling. That might be a good option or a good choice for that. So you get the idea, the kind of thing that I'm looking for when choosing a typeface. And that one's not too bad. It's a little bit on the thinner side, but it's not too bad. This would still work. Okay, so we have our typeface. We can now unlock that layer. Let me get back to the regular move tool. There we go. And unlock that. Now we need to give this a chiseled appearance, and we'll be doing that with the effects. So click on Effects and a bevel, and you want the hard, so the simple sharp inner bevel right there. That's the one that you want. Just drag it over onto your type, and it gives you that beveled effect. Now you need to modify this effect to give us that chiseled look. So let's go up here to Layer, Layer Style, Style Settings, and there's the bevel. Now you want to have the down, giving you the light part on the bottom instead of the top, and then adjust the size until the bevel is right in the middle of the lettering. See it right there? Yeah, it's in the middle of the letters. Okay, so far so good. That's the basic look. Now we want to have this working into, or look like it's carved into the stone and not just painted on top of the stone. We can do that by overlaying this type into the back surface. Now we may change the color. I used straight black so you can easily see what we're doing here, but I may want to change the color to give a little better effect on this. We'll see how it looks. Let's go over to Layers, and what you want to use is the Overlay in here. Scroll down a little bit, right there, Overlay. And as you can see, what that does is it allows the background to show through your lettering. Now this is a bit dark. It's not quite exactly what I want, so I want to lighten that up a little bit. And we can do that by simply changing the color of the type. So let's go over here to our type. I'll select that type and bring our color up here. And there's a lot of grays in here. We're using black. Let's just try kind of a mid-tone gray. And that's looking a lot better. So it looks as if it's carved into the surface. Now I want to put a little bit of separation in the background from this foreground. And a couple of ways of doing that. One is to adjust your overlay. If I go up here, and then I'm just going to use the wheel on my mouse, I'm going to scroll down here, and you'll see how different overlay amounts, different overlay options give you different effects. There's the lighten effect, there's the screen effect, there's a color dodge, linear dodge, lighter colors, not too bad, overlay, soft light, kind of a toss-up between those two, as which looks more like it's carved into the surface. I'll scroll down. Hard light is not too bad. You can see it a little bit better in hard light. I think I'll leave it on hard light for our discussion, but I would probably actually use soft light or the overlay for my finish, because it looks more as if it's actually carved into the surface. You don't want it too apparent. You want it to be, look like it's in there, and you have to kind of look for it a little bit. But again, I'll use the hard light here just for our discussion, so it's a little easier to see in the videos. Okay, the last thing I want to do is I want to put a light source in here. And so we have lighter up here and darker down below. So we're going to put a new layer above the granite layer and below the type. So new layer right there. On that layer, I want a white to black gradient coming in at a diagonal. So let's choose our gradient, and let's go up here, window, color swatches. Let's choose black, put our black background, our foreground color rather, back on black again, and that should give us the first option as black to white. That's just the default setting. Whenever you open up Elements, it should be giving you that black as your foreground, white as your background as your first option. Okay, so we're on our gradient tool, and I'm going to just drag a diagonal kind of down from the upper left to somewhere from the bottom right, and that's backwards of what I wanted. So let's try it reverse. There we go. Light upper left, dark bottom right. And now let's just bring the opacity down on that layer. And as I scale that back, you can see how it does two things for us. It makes the lettering easier to see, and it kind of softens down the background a little bit. So there it is without, and here's with. It just kind of softens out that background a bit, again making the text a little bit easier to see. And also it gives us a little bit of darkness over here and lightness up there, which helps to accentuate the lighting of the letters. So there you go. Easy way to come in and do this kind of chiseled effect on a hard surface. Alright, that takes care of the first half of this discussion. Let's now start off a new one, and we're going to do a different kind of text. In this case, we're going to be going for a soft surface, and we'll do that into a wood surface. Let's just hide some of these layers here. We don't need those any longer. And I'll do a new layer. I'll do it above this so all the text, this row will still be down below. Let's do a new layer, and the first thing we need is to have some kind of a wood grain in here to work on. So let's go up to, actually I'm going to fill this with something. It doesn't matter what you fill it with, so I'll just choose the paint bucket, and whatever happens to be in the paint bucket is fine. So there we go, that's filled. Go up here to Filter, Render Fibers, and this allows you to make these different fibrous looks. You can randomize, just kind of click through and see what you get, see if there's anything you happen to like. That's not too bad. You can adjust the variance in here. Notice how the further towards the left you get softer it looks, further towards the right the harder it gets. So you have just some effects. I think a little softer is good for a nice wood look. And then strength increases the fibers themselves. So something down kind of low here I think will work out well for this particular image. Choose OK. It just fills that with that fiber look. Now I like having this fiber look at an angle. It looks a little more like real wood if it's angled. So let's go up here to Image, Rotate, and let's just free rotate the layer. Grab out side trails, kind of pull it like that. Just some kind of angle in there, that's fine. And then click on our Move tool and apply that. Let's now stretch this so that it fills our space again. So Transform, Free Transform. And let's just come out a bit so we can see our control handles. There's one. Just pull that out. I'm going to make this, actually let's just zoom out so we can really see what we're doing here. There we go. And let's just make this a bit bigger so that everything fits. There we go, move it up a bit. A little more height I think will do it. There we go. Okay, that just gives us kind of a fibered look. And let's zoom in a touch and bring our size back down again. We now need to colorize this to give it more of a wood effect. So that's Enhance, Adjust Color, Hue Saturation. Select Colorize. And the first thing I want to do is to find a nice wood tone. And you'd be pretty close to start off. I think right in here, I kind of like that color. You can make it more or less vibrant right down here with your saturation. To give it the nice wood look though, you want to get rid of this white stuff. You do that by bringing your lightness down. And then bring your saturation up a little bit. That's pretty good. Kind of a dark wood effect. We can adjust that value, of course, because we're sitting on a white background down here. If we adjust the opacity, we can lighten that up if you want to by showing through more of that white. Or you can adjust the lightness. Now we've done that hue saturation once. We can go back, adjust color, hue saturation again, and you can come in here and adjust it further this way to adjust those values. Or you can even use the adjust lighting, brightness, contrast in here and adjust your brightness and your contrast this way. So you have several options in here on getting just the right look for that. But that just gives us a wood surface to work on, kind of a faked wood surface. We now need to put in some text in here. And for a softer surface, I like a little fatter type of lettering, and you can use serifs or not, but I try to stay away from real sharp edges like we had in the last one, the real sharp, thin serifs. I try staying away from those kinds of things because they're more difficult to do on wood, so it looks a little less authentic. So let's go again to our type tool and back to our type here. Let's just see what we have. So, this would be okay. I'm just scrolling up with the mouse wheel right now. That would be all right. This would be okay. You could do this, but it's not as authentic looking. This is, we look at this when we think of, stenciled paints. That's not going to work as well for us. And we'll just keep on going. I'll see if I can find something kind of old-fashioned looking in here for this. That might actually work. It's a little odd, but it might work. And we'll just keep on scrolling up. That's not too bad right there. Notice how it has the serifs, but they're softer. They're not as sharp as they were before. We may come back to that. Let's see what else we have. Now this is far too fancy. That's not going to work for us at all. This might work as well. That's a possibility. Now, of course, these techniques, once you know the technique, you can try these on all kinds of different typefaces to see what you come up with. See if you can have something kind of fun on this. Okay, so we don't take too much time. Let's just come back down and take a look at that. I think I'll go ahead and I'll use that one right there. That's the Rockwell Extra Bold Regular. And let's just type in something. I think I'll go for all caps. Now that I'm looking at that. And so we still have that kind of a gray tone that we had before, and that's fine. And then grab the corner, resize our type a little bit here, make it a bit larger. There we go. You can see we have these larger shapes now. They're of course hard edge, but it's larger. We don't have those real thin serifs. This will give us a little better look on that bevel and emboss. Now I'm going to show you the two different bevels on this. You can see how this works and see the differences on those. So go to our effects, and we'll first do the sharp bevel right there. And again, let's adjust this. So layer, style settings. Want the bevel reversed, and then bring that up a bit. It's kind of a hard edge, as you can see in there. Now if I set this, let's just go back to our layers again, and set this one to the overlay. It's not too bad. It has kind of a nice carved wood look to it. That's a sharp bevel. Let's now remove that one and let's back up here. Let's do a soft bevel on this one. Now the soft bevels, you can either do those from the effects menu in here, or you can also do your soft bevels from the layer and layer style settings. This will give you a soft edge bevel by default. You can see kind of a soft edge in there. If you want the soft look, more of a hand carved look, I'll just do a bit like that. You want to kind of have the flat surfaces on the bottom, and again the overlay in here, and it gives you more of that soft effect. So those are the two options, and it really depends upon the approach that you're looking for as to which one of those you want to use. Get just back out of that one. We'll use the same one we did last time so you can compare these directly. Again, that is the sharp inner, right there, simple sharp inner. And let's adjust the style on that, style settings. Do it down, bring this up so we're using the exact same settings as we had on the Roman lettering, but I'll have a little bit of flatness in here on the bottom of the letters. Choose OK. Back to our layers again, and there's the overlay. Let's just go ahead and try the other options. There's the overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, pin light. I kind of think the overlay is going to work out pretty well for us. There's the overlay. The last thing we want is to have our gradient in behind, and we can build that just so we built this previous gradient. Let's make a new layer. Again, the layer is above the background here, above your texture and below your text. And let's just zoom out just a touch and see it a bit better. There we go. Back to our gradient. Make sure we're still sitting on our black to white, and we are. That's fine. And I think we pulled that up last time. There we go. So pull that up, it gives you that nice gradient effect in there, and we then can bring that down a bit just to give us a bit of a gradient and soften up that background. One approach on this. Other approach, which we didn't do last time, is to actually use your blending modes on your gradient. I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse again and just roll down through these. So you can see the effects there as I darken, multiply, color burn, linear burn. We're going to want to have one of the lighten ones in here. There's screen, color dodge, lighter wood. There's the overlay. There's a soft light. And I think the soft light is pretty good. And again, we can bring down our opacity a bit as well on that. So what that does is it just gives us a bit of a value variation top to bottom on this. Now, to go even further than we did last time, there's one more thing that you can do to help bring this out, and that is to come in and do a little bit of highlighting on the edges in here. Let me show you how I can do some highlighting in there. And that can be done right down here on your layer. Now we want to select the letter shape. So hold the control key down, let's select the letter shape. There we go. Let's invert that selection. Inverse. So everything outside is selected, everything inside is not selected. And now that we have that, we can come in, we can actually lighten up a little bit of the wood around some of those edges, especially out here. So let's zoom in. And you want to be on your background layer here. I'm going to make a copy of this just in case we mess this up. I'll make a copy so I can always go back to that clean copy if we need to. Okay, so we want to just kind of lighten the edge here. What this will do is it'll look as if the lettering is carved into the surface, and then we're getting a little bit of an edge lighting on that. Two ways of approaching this. We can actually come in here and do a little bit of painting of a light color on those edges, or we can use the dodge and burn tools down here. The dodge tool will lighten things up, burn tool will darken things down. And let's adjust our settings in here. Exposure should be pretty low. That's pretty good. I'm going to bring the size down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in here and just a little bit like that. Just kind of lightening up that edge. Just very subtly. And a little bit in there. This will just help to separate those edges a bit. I think that's all right. Let's zoom out and deselect. So you can see just a little bit of lightening up on those edges to help bring out those edges. There we go. That's how to do a carved wood look Now again, we looked at two different versions on this, the softer bevel and the harder bevel, and it's kind of personal preference which one you want. Now notice that our color in here is very, very gray on that. You can make this look even more realistic by changing your wood color in here, the color of your type, to a brown, a mid-tone brown instead of that gray. So let's take a look at that. We'll grab our type tool. There's the gray we use, so click on your type. There's the gray. And let's scroll down a bit here so we can find a darker brown. Not really seeing one there exactly. Let's pull this up a bit so we can get a little better view of those. Okay, there's kind of a nice mid brown. We'll use that one and choose OK. So you notice how it's a lot brighter coloration now that we changed the color from a gray over to a brown. So you do have that option as well to adjust the look of your lettering on your image. So there you go. That's how to do carved lettering. And as you can see, it really has everything to do with the bevel and emboss, and then choosing the proper lighting mode here to blend the type into your layers in behind. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.